What's up guys, welcome back for another YgoPro Duel video. Rockets, it has been quite a while, ever since I at least reviewed this particular archetype, but they got a quite a new support past few weeks / months, so let's try it out again. This is currently my list. Feel free to leave suggestions, right? Deck profile will be a lot pretty much a lot shorter, but short set. It's Rockets are like pretty much Borreload Dragon deck, right? It's the small downside of the Rocket monster is, or at least the Vullet monsters, is that they don't trigger or they don't activate when they are used for like a Link summon or synchro summon, whatever, and that's a bit of a bummer, right? With I believe it was last week they got a new booster dragon, I believe its name is, so it's like a Link 2 exceed, Link monster, of course, that's a bit specific, needs to Rocket monsters, so that kind of hurts it. Then again, I see where it's going to. You can just, like, as you will see in a couple of moments, like building up your links, start building up your links and work towards your Borreload dragon. Since again, that's pretty much the main goal of your Rocket deck, is to as fast as possible go for your Borreload dragon, since your Link 2 booster dragon doesn't have a quick effect, so you cannot like use it during your opponent's turn, and that's a bit of a bummer, right? It would have definitely have been much better if it would have had a quick effect. Anyway, so Borreload dragon does have a quick effect, and again, you want to make it as fast as possible, so that's why there are quite a few engines here in the main deck to make it much more easy to go for your Borreload dragon. Scapegoat is a no-brainer here. Scapegoat at 3 in the main deck. But this and the other engine, the Strudo engine, is also quite, well, it's not new, right? To, go for your Dark Worm, go for that Supreme King, you know what I'm talking about, and then eventually go for the level 7 Synchro play, go for the rank 7 Exceed play, indeed, go for your Tomahawk, and, go from there, and eventually end with your Borreload dragon. And the Chaos Mag's definitely a big threat here for the Borreload dragon, but it does get rid of one of them, but I do main a second copy of Borreload. I think that's needed. Again, MVP of the deck, you definitely should, but this is more than enough to attack for game. Another example, Evil Swarms. This is a decent start, and this is why Rockets will, I think, never be like a super highly competitive top tier deck. Like, it's very hard for this deck to, spam your field full of broken shenanigans, right, compared to Spirals or Pendulum Magicians. Like Rockets, it's like normal summon a Rocket, maybe activate the Squib Draw to, draw 2 cards and special summon something from the end phase, at least from the deck in the end phase, and that's pretty much it, right? If you don't have something like Grinder Golem, if you're main decking it, or the Destruidor / Ravine combo, then the deck is quite slow and also quite passive. The field spell, not really sure about the correct name, is also quite good. It's at 3 in the main deck, but again, if you're like behind or going second, maybe the opponent having more monsters than you, it's like a huge monster reborn. So then that's quite good, and again, it gives you the option to work towards your Borreload dragon, like for example, get 2 Rocket monsters on the field, Link summon for your Link 2 booster dragon, and then, use your field spell, reborn multiple Rocket monsters you just used for the Link summon, and possibly make Borreload dragon, right? Anyway, invoked, maybe I should have used my Ash Blossom indeed on the field spells, as again, my mindset was, yeah, let's just negate the search upon summon, but again, that gives him the opportunity to use the, something like Wonder Wand, right, or the Spellbook draw cards, so not really sure if that was a correct play. Anyway, still have a comeback ready, get some nice damage in, thanks to Raigeki as well, but, okay, the Dark Worm engine with the Strudo is decent. It can go for Tomahawk, for example. It can go for Black Road as well. For the Meteor Burst also. That also gives you like a target for your what is it called? That Twin Barrel Dragon, I believe its name. So that's all good. But again, as you see here, like Dark Worm on its own doesn't really do anything, right? You need that Destrudo as well, or Ravine, right? There it is, luckily enough. So I try to go for Meteor Burst, eventually try to special summon the Pendulum Monster indeed, but he does Ghost Ogre the Meteor Burst. That's all fine, go for Twin Triangle Dragon, that was indeed the name. So Reborn, Meteor Burst, and I can still go for Tomahawk here. The card is so busted in Link format. You can make it with relative ease, is like that, right? Anyway, go for Borreload to take control of the Alistair indeed, and go for the second copy of Borreload, but my heart stopped here when he flipped over the Scapegoat in the end phase, and then I quickly checked the grave, and yep, he already used up one of his Borreloads, Borreloads indeed, so he's not main decking a second copy, right? And he doesn't, so that's all good. But again, at least my goal here is to at least make one Borreload Dragon-like survive the turn, and then I can just wreck his field. Using Borreload Dragons, reducing attack/defense effect here wasn't really needed, but anyway, it's not going to matter too much. I'll pretty much leave him crippled, right? He does have like a play next turn with the engrave effect of the Invocation, but still, not really sure if he has many plays left. Probably not, since this will be his last turn. So again, kind of crucial of you main decking like the 2 copies of Borreload Dragon. It's again MVP, the first card you want to work towards to. Another example, the opponent gets to start, and you know, yeah, some Grinder Golem shenanigans on his part. My opening hand is again okay. Have the field spell, that's good if you're going second, like Terraforming or the field spell, and if you have the option to hopefully get like 2 rockets on the field, you can make use of that field spell, since the field spell also has like first effect. Well, it has 2 effects, right? But the outside of the Reborn effect, the second effect lets you like special summon multiple rockets on the field, but you can't sadly use both effects in the same turn. That maybe would have been a bit too good, but then again, if you can compare it with other decks and other field spells, that probably would not have been that overpowered. Since again, it's kind of restricted to rockets. Anyway, special summon the rocket, yeah, eventually boost the dragon, etc, etc. And thanks to the field spell, go for Borreload Dragon. I could have like used my boosted dragons effect, like target one of my rocket monsters, but again, going for Borreload Dragon was a superior move. Take control of the Ophion and try at least, yeah, establishing the board. Scapegoat again, too good, flipping it over in the end phase, and now I'm just in full control of the duel, right? Drawing to strike, that's again perfect. I'm only running 1 Mrs. Radiant, might add in a second copy, but the extra deck is really tight. And that's one of the reasons why you might don't want to main deck Grinder Golem in this, is again the extra deck is kind of tight. But that's up to you, since Grinder Golem definitely has a use in this particular deck. Anyway, indeed another example, and this is again showcasing the big weakness of my, or at least from Rockets in general, kind of slow deck if you don't open with, you know, those quote-unquote generic Link engines like maybe, you know, Brilliant Fusion, Predaplant, Grinder Golem, etc. Just set one monster, set 1 or 2 back rows and pass. Which competitive deck does that, right? The opponent has an excellent start with, you know, the Link monster, the Link Burning Abyss, Beatrice as well, and 1 back row. How can I win this one, right? Well, go for the Booster Dragon and eventually keep upgrading again. He does use Beatrice already to go for Farfa. Well, you'll eventually use Farfa to banish my Rocket Dragon, but I do have my normal summon left, and that's a bit unfortunate for him. This is again, okay, his Fog Blade will negate the Booster Dragon, but still, my monster, my Rocket monster, was targeted by a Link monster effect, so I can still use the effect, get rid of Beatrice, and now he's just left crippled, right? He does go for, what is it called, Phantom Knight, the Phantom Knight Exceed indeed, but outside of that, not really sure how many, or at least what plays he can do, right? Okay, yeah, F-Zero is decent, but that's not going to matter too much, as again, now I have enough monsters on my side of the field to go for like the Borreload Dragon, and that's pretty much game over against Burning Abyss. Yeah, indeed, and this should be GG, especially with the strike in hand. So again, a very slow deck. You need some time to set up, but if, yeah, by the time you eventually get your yeah, your engine rolling, and then the deck is quite good, but again, you need time. Last example against a grinder windups, again, the opponent gets to start, yeah, must be nice. The grinder eventually also with windup factory, and I believe thanks to Akashic Magician, he will get at least one windup monster in the grave, so that windup red is going to be live. Again, that's a problem, but the field spell might come in handy really soon. To, you know, eventually give me enough monsters to potentially grind up to that Borreload dragon. Okay, grinder golem, that's all fine, and then the going for double firewall dragon. Yeah, let's hope the ban list deals with that, especially for the TCG soon. The wind-up link monster, again, quite strong, banishing the, what is it called, the wind-up shark indeed. Yeah, you know the regular shenanigans, right? Eventually get the wind-up magician on his side of the field, and go for the second copy of his Zen-Mycon. You know, get some more, man, this is so busted, right? Just first turn double firewall, wind-up rabbit live multiple times thanks to wind-up factory as well, the Borreload dragon first turn, but again, I have my own shenanigans ready, so I keep upgrading to my own Borreload and then start racking up the damage and my field presence, get rid of his firewall dragon, and again set the scapegoat, I believe, the script draw, and the solemn strike. That's all fine. He does slip over his own scapegoat. Not really sure. That's definitely not a big threat, since again I do have the strike, the mandatory strike, to prevent my opponent from going for his Borreload dragon. See that card is so important going into Link Vrains Box. Well, he does go for the Draco Serpent. What is it called? Skull Deed. Definitely going to strike that. Not really sure if he has any options beside that, since he only has like 4 extra deck monsters left. But okay, I have multiple options. Mrs. Radiant, then I believe Proxy Dragon as well. I get some more monsters on the field. That's just, yeah, well, what can go wrong, right? Script draw, get more draws, another copy of Solemn Strike, so that's pretty much GG. Making sure that the dragon here, the rocket monster, is in the same column as the extra deck space, extra monster zone from my opponent, you know, just in case. Then I can just, you know, use my Borreload dragons effect. So again, yeah, this is pretty much it. Again, if you have like any opinions about the list, like always, feel free to leave them down below. But outside of that, like always, thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.